Imagine walking into your garden on the hottest day of summer. The sun is brutal, the soil is cracking, weeds are exploding everywhere, but not in your garden. Your beds are cool, moist, completely weed-free. And here's the crazy part. You didn't use any mulch at all, no wood chips, no straw, no cardboard, nothing. Your garden is thriving because of 5 tiny seeds that create a living mulch so powerful you may never buy mulch again. Today, I'm revealing exactly what those seeds are and how planting them once can transform your garden forever. Let's get straight into the list, starting with the first powerhouse. 1. White Dutch clover. If crimson clover is the fast-growing seasonal mulch, then white Dutch clover is the long-lasting, perennial, never-ending living mulch that can serve you for many years. This plant doesn't just cover the soil, but becomes a permanent, self-renewing green carpet that grows low, spreads naturally, and transforms your garden into a protected, cool, weed-free environment. White Dutch clover stays only a few inches tall, which makes it one of the most versatile living mulch plants you can grow. Unlike taller legumes or ornamental ground covers, white clover never becomes invasive or overwhelming. Instead, it forms a soft, dense mat that you can walk on, kneel on, or even mow lightly if you want to keep it extra short. This makes it perfect not only for garden beds, but also for pathways, orchard floors, herb gardens, and anywhere you want both beauty and function. The evergreen appearance of white Dutch clover is another major advantage. Even during periods when other ground covers go dormant, clover often remains green and vibrant. In many climates, it stays alive through winter, giving your soil continuous protection from erosion, frost damage, and nutrient leaching. Instead of leaving your beds bare for months, clover shields the soil all year long. One of the greatest strengths of white Dutch clover is its incredible drought tolerance. Once established, it can survive harsh sun, dry spells, and high temperatures far better than many lawn grasses or shallow mulches. While a traditional lawn may turn brown or mulch begins to dry out and decompose, white clover remains lush and resilient. This makes it perfect for gardeners who live in hot regions or who simply don't want to water constantly. Its ability to retain soil moisture means your vegetables and fruit trees benefit as well. Their roots stay cool and the soil stays moist deep below the surface. White clover is also a nitrogen fixer, just like crimson clover. That means it continuously enriches the soil beneath it, releasing nitrogen slowly over time. This supports strong vegetable growth, healthier leaves, and higher yields. When grown near fruit trees, white clover enriches the topsoil and supports long-term tree health by keeping moisture regulated and reducing weed competition. Using white Dutch clover around fruit trees is one of the smartest ways to build a sustainable, low-maintenance orchard. Instead of hauling wood chips every year, you plant the clover once and let it work for you. It prevents erosion during heavy rains, blocks weeds from stealing moisture, keeps the soil cool during heat waves, and supports pollinators when it blooms. Plus, it creates a soft, natural surface that is far more pleasant to walk on than bark chips or gravel. In raised beds, white clover can be planted between vegetable rows. Over time, it fills the empty spaces, creating a continuous mulching layer that prevents weed growth and reduces water needs. It also makes your garden look fuller, healthier, and more vibrant. Planting white Dutch clover is extremely simple. Scatter the seeds evenly across the area you want covered, lightly press them into the soil, and keep the surface moist until you see germination. Once the plants start growing, they require very little from you. They continue spreading, filling gaps, and maintaining coverage year after year. Even if parts die off, they reseed themselves naturally, ensuring your living mulch continues without your involvement. Over time, this plant becomes one of the most dependable and eco-friendly mulching systems you can add to your garden. It's beautiful, functional, and incredibly efficient. A true long-term solution for soil protection and weed control. 2. Buckwheat. Buckwheat is truly one of the world's fastest and most efficient soil protectors. Gardeners often call it the emergency mulch plant, because when the soil needs immediate coverage, not next week, not in a month, but right now, buckwheat is the answer. From the moment its seeds touch moist soil, they burst into action. Germination is so fast that within just a few days, you'll already see small leaves emerging. And in as little as 25 to 35 days, you'll have a full, dense canopy that covers the ground like a natural living shield. This explosive growth gives buckwheat an almost magical ability to outcompete weeds. While weed seeds are still thinking about sprouting, buckwheat is already shading them out. It grows tall enough and thick enough to block sunlight from reaching the soil, which means weed seedlings don't stand a chance. You get an instant carpet of green that stays airy enough for airflow, but dense enough for excellent ground protection. One of buckwheat's greatest strengths is its ability to cool overheated soil. In the summer, bare soil can reach temperatures over 120 degrees, 49 degrees. That's a death sentence for many beneficial organisms. Earthworms flee deep underground, microbes slow down, and plant roots become stressed. But buckwheat creates a living parasol over the soil, reducing surface temperature dramatically. Beneath buckwheat, the soil stays moist, cool, and biologically active, even during extreme heat. This plant is also a biomass powerhouse. All the leaves and stems grow rapidly, and once you chop the plant down, it becomes an immediate layer of organic mulch. Unlike wood chips, which take months to break down, buckwheat decomposes quickly, feeding the soil almost instantly. It provides carbon, nitrogen, and a variety of minerals. And this is where buckwheat becomes especially valuable. Buckwheat has a rare talent for scavenging nutrients that most plants cannot access. It has the ability to pull phosphorus and micronutrients from deep or locked soil layers. Many soils have phosphorus present but trapped in forms plants can't use. Buckwheat frees these nutrients and returns them to the surface through its leaves. When the plant decomposes, it releases that phosphorus back into the topsoil in a plant-available form. This improves soil fertility for the next vegetables you plant. Tomatoes, squash, root crops, brassicas all benefit immediately. And then there are the flowers. Buckwheat's delicate white blooms may look simple, but they have an almost irresistible pull on beneficial insects. Bees love buckwheat so much that beekeepers plant entire fields of it just to create dark, rich buckwheat honey. Hoverflies, parasitic wasps, predatory beetles, butterflies, and native pollinators swarm around the flowers. These insects aren't just pretty. They provide real pest control by hunting aphids, mites, caterpillars, thrips, and more. Buckwheat is also incredibly forgiving. Poor soil? It grows. Sandy soil? It grows. Clay soil? It grows. Depleted garden area? It grows. It's one of the best plants to revive neglected spaces because it thrives where vegetables often fail. Planting it couldn't be easier. Scatter seeds thickly, rake them in lightly, and water once. You don't need fertilizer or deep soil preparation. Within a few weeks, you'll have full coverage in a lush, thriving living mulch. When you need the bed again, simply cut the buckwheat at the base and leave everything on the surface. It becomes mulch within days. It's the ideal plant for filling gaps between spring and fall crops, protecting soil during summer heat, boosting depleted soil before planting heavy feeders, using as a living mulch in large garden spaces, creating instant coverage for weed-prone areas. Buckwheat is fast, powerful, and incredibly easy, the perfect partner for gardeners who want soil coverage without waiting. 3. Sweet alyssum. Sweet alyssum is a completely different kind of living mulch. Elegant, soft, fragrant, and absolutely packed with beneficial qualities. While some living mulches focus on speed or height or tough ground coverage, alyssum brings a blend of beauty and function that few plants can match. When fully grown, it forms low, dome-shaped mounds covered in tiny white, pink, or purple flowers that bloom non-stop from early summer through fall. It looks like something from a fairy garden, but don't be fooled. Sweet alyssum is a serious worker in the vegetable garden. Unlike taller living mulches, sweet alyssum stays compact, hugging the ground closely. Its spreading growth habit creates a natural living blanket that shades the soil surface. This reduces evaporation, keeps soil stay cool, and helps prevent crusting, the hard, dry layer that forms on unprotected soil. Beneath alyssum, the soil remains soft, rich, and full of microbial life. But what makes sweet alyssum one of the most valuable living mulches in organic gardening is its unbelievable ability to attract beneficial insects. Alyssum produces nectar continuously, and because the flowers are so small, they're accessible to insects that specialized flowers can't feed. This means alyssum becomes a magnet for tiny predators. Hoverflies, predatory wasps, lacewings, ladybugs, minute pirate bugs, soldier beetles, and more. These insects are not just visitors. They are your soldiers. They hunt down aphids, whiteflies, thrips, spider mites, cabbage worms, flea beetles, and dozens of other common pests. This natural pest control is so effective that many commercial organic farms plant sweet alyssum every few rows as part of their integrated pest management system. Its presence alone reduces the need for sprays, even organic ones. Alyssum fits into vegetable gardens better than almost any other flowering plant. Its low profile means it won't compete with lettuce, spinach, onions, strawberries, or carrots. It nestles into spaces between peppers, tomatoes, or cabbage without stealing nutrients or accelerating pests. Because it spreads horizontally, it fills in garden gaps where weeds would otherwise sprout. Its foliage and flowers shade the soil just enough to prevent weed seeds from germinating. This plant is also heat tolerant and drought resistant once established. Even in scorching summer conditions, sweet alyssum continues blooming. It also adapts well to cooler weather, surviving mild frosts and extending its usefulness deep into the fall season. Planting sweet alyssum is simple and rewarding. Scatter seeds lightly over bare soil or along bed edges. Press them in gently and water with a fine mist. Within days, you'll see tiny seedlings forming a delicate carpet. As they grow, they begin to arch outward, forming the iconic alyssum mounds that spill over the surface and create living borders around your vegetables. Alyssum self-seeds easily but not aggressively. That means once you plant it, you may never need to plant it again. Each year, new seedlings will appear in a gentle, natural pattern, giving your garden a continuous supply of living mulch. Unlike wood mulch, which just sits on the surface, alyssum lives, breathes, and supports the entire ecosystem. It moves with the wind, grows, flowers, draws in pollinators, attracts predators, and transforms your garden into a vibrant, balanced, pest-resistant environment. It's mulch, decoration, biological pest control, and pollinator support all in one. 4. Crimson clover. Crimson clover is one of the most dynamic, fast-establishing, and visually striking living mulches you can introduce into your garden. The moment those deep red, almost velvet-looking flower spikes begin rising above the soft, delicate green foliage, you instantly understand why gardeners all over the world swear by this plant. Crimson clover doesn't just grow. It rushes to cover soil, spreading fast enough to overwhelm weeds, shade the ground, and form a thick, breathable blanket that keeps your soil alive and protected. What makes crimson clover so effective is its aggressive early growth. While most weeds are struggling to sprout and to push through the surface, crimson clover is already several inches tall, spreading wide and shading the soil. This gives you a powerful advantage in weed control without using chemicals, plastic, wood chips, or hours of hand pulling. Instead of battling weeds all season, you're letting the clover do the work for you. And because its growth habit is soft and flexible, it never chokes your main crops. It simply fills the empty spaces and covers the soil like natural armor. But the biggest superpower of crimson clover is its role as a nitrogen fixer. This tiny plant forms a partnership with beneficial bacteria in the soil, capturing nitrogen directly from the atmosphere and storing it in small nodules on its roots. Later, when the plant dies back or you trim it, this nitrogen becomes available to your vegetables and fruit plants. That's why gardeners often say that crimson clover feeds the soil while it protects it. Every part of the plant is working, above ground and below, and then there's moisture conservation. Imagine the intense heat of midsummer when the soil cracks open and water evaporates quickly. In a normal garden, you have to water constantly just to keep plants alive. But with a thick layer of crimson clover covering the soil, sunlight never reaches the bare ground. The roots stay cool. Moisture stays trapped. Evaporation drops dramatically. Many gardeners report watering up to half as often after planting crimson clover as living mulch. That's a massive time saver, and it keeps plants healthier, especially during heat waves. Crimson clover isn't just practical, it's beneficial for the entire garden ecosystem. Those vivid red flower heads attract pollinators in huge numbers. Bees, bumblebees, hoverflies, and beneficial insects visit it constantly. When these insects are busy in your clover patch, they also pollinate nearby vegetables like cucumbers, squash, melons, berries, and fruit trees. Mulch never boosted your bee population, but clover will. You can grow crimson clover under and around tall crops without any problem. It works beautifully beneath tomatoes, peppers, corn, okra, sunflowers, broccoli, and even young fruit trees. The clover stays low and soft, forming a living carpet, while your main crops grow up and through it without competition. And planting it is incredibly simple. You don't need special equipment or precise spacing. Just scatter the seeds over the area where you want living mulch. Rake lightly so the seeds make contact with the soil, water daily for about a week, and then watch as the entire space fills with fast-moving green growth. Once established, crimson clover practically maintains itself. Over time, as the plant is cut or naturally dies back, all the stems, leaves, and roots return to the soil as organic matter. This increases fertility, improves soil structure, and builds a dark, rich top layer that holds water and nutrients far better than before. Crimson clover gives you mulch, fertilizer, weed suppression, pollinator support, and soil improvement, all in one plant. 5. Creeping thyme. The fifth and final seed on this list brings a different kind of magic to your garden. Creeping thyme isn't just a plant, it's a slow-moving carpet of fragrance, color, and quiet strength. Unlike many fast-growing living mulches, thyme develops with patience and purpose, spreading itself like a soft green quilt that hugs the soil. Gardeners love it because it creates a dense, evergreen mat that survives harsh seasons, resists drought, and looks stunning 12 months a year. Once creeping thyme settles in, it begins to weave itself into every nook and corner, forming a tight cushion that outperforms traditional mulches when it comes to weed suppression. Weeds simply don't stand a chance under a fully established thyme blanket. This plant shades the soil, smothers invaders, and locks in moisture without ever needing to be replaced, topped up, or repaired. In many climates, it stays green throughout the year, giving your garden a fresh, lively look even in the colder months. One of its greatest gifts arrives in early to midsummer, when creeping thyme transforms into a tiny ocean of blossoms. Depending on the variety, flowers may be soft pink, delicate purple, or pure white. Bees adore them. Butterflies drift toward them like confetti on a breeze. The whole garden shifts in mood during bloom time. Suddenly the pathways hum, the borders glow, and the air tastes faintly of honey and herbs. Creeping thyme thrives in the sunniest parts of your garden, where its aromatic oils become richer and more intense. Each time you brush your hand across the foliage, the scent rises up like warm herbal steam. Some gardeners plant it strictly for its aroma. Others enjoy its culinary uses, clipping a handful here and there to season roasted vegetables, grilled meats, or homemade teas. It's a living mulch that also doubles as a kitchen companion. This plant is especially valuable in spots where other ground covers fail. It excels between stepping stones, along pathways, around raised beds, at the base of fruit trees, or spilling gently over garden edges. It handles light foot traffic with ease, which makes it one of the best choices for creating living garden floors. When planted beside vegetables, creeping thyme acts like a supportive backstage crew, staying low and out of the way while your taller plants steal the spotlight. Tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, beans, herbs like rosemary or lavender, and even berry shrubs like blueberries or currants all pair beautifully with it. Beyond appearance and scent, creeping thyme quietly performs important ecological work. Its roots hold the soil together, preventing erosion from wind and rain. Its dense foliage reduces evaporation, keeping the soil cooler and moister for longer. When used around perennials or fruit trees, thyme can help reduce watering frequency dramatically. Over time, its organic matter improves soil texture, creating a healthier growing environment for everything around it. Planting creeping thyme requires a little patience at the beginning, but the rewards are long-lasting. Start by sowing the seeds very shallowly. Thyme needs light to germinate, so don't bury them deeply. Keep the soil consistently moist until you see sprouts. The seedlings remain delicate during their first weeks, but once they root deeply, the plant becomes surprisingly tough and self-sufficient. After the first season, creeping thyme rarely needs attention beyond occasional trimming if you want to control its shape. Given enough time, this small herb turns into a permanent, living mulch layer that protects the soil, perfumes the air, feeds the pollinators, and elevates the entire character of your garden. Among all the ground cover options, creeping thyme stands out for its mix of beauty, resilience, and practicality. If you want a mulch replacement that also brings charm and usefulness to your space, this plant is an unmatched choice.